Hello and welcome to Little Learners. Today I'm going to be talking about why I cannot stand whole class behaviour charts. And when I say behaviour chart, this is what I mean, this kind of thing. So there will be a display in the classroom, sometimes referred to as a traffic light system or something like that, where good is at the top and bad is at the bottom, basically. All of the children's names will be on this chart, and they usually start in the middle or at the top for good, and depending on their behaviour during the day, their name gets moved up or down the chart. Before we get into this a little bit more, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more videos just like this, and if you find the video interesting, give it a like as it really helps out the channel. So these whole class behaviour charts, you may have seen them in your child's classroom, you may have seen them in classrooms that you've worked in if you work in a school, you may remember them from when you were at school. They're a way to show to anyone who's in that classroom how children's behaviour has been throughout the day. Now this is great if children are being praised for their behaviour and their name is getting moved to good or a happy face or the green on the traffic light. But what about the children who don't move up the chart and instead move down the chart? Imagine for a moment as an adult that you are at work and on a board in the office is a chart of everyone's names. Every time someone does something really good, their performance at work is really good, they get moved to the top of the board and everyone can see that that person's doing a really good job. But every time someone makes a mistake or isn't really doing as well as their colleagues, they get moved to the bottom of the board. Everyone can see. Imagine you're that person. Your name has been moved to the bottom of the board and everyone in the office can see that you made a mistake. Humiliating, right? Absolutely humiliating to have your mistake or your poor performance paraded in front of everybody and letting everyone know that that's happening. In a work environment, if you made a mistake or your performance wasn't great or you had an argument with a colleague or something like that, you would have a private meeting with your boss or your manager, and this would be dealt with confidentially, privately, and sure, other people might find out, but your boss isn't telling everyone. They're not putting it on the board to shame you. And that is basically what we're doing to children when we have these whole class behaviour charts. And I know a lot of you watching probably use these behaviour charts and you're watching this video thinking, I am talking a load of nonsense and this is how it's always been. We've always used these behaviour charts, so why would we stop now? Humiliation, embarrassment, shame. These are things that we never want the children in our care to feel, and we certainly don't want to be putting that on them ourselves. And yet we have this display in our classroom that is built to praise children with good behaviour and shame those with poor behaviour. Particularly in the early years, we have a big focus on how every emotion is valid and the way that we react to our emotions and behave due to our emotions is something that we can self-regulate. We might need co-regulation at first, and we learn how to deal with those emotions. So imagine then, in one breath, teaching children this and then saying to them, the way that you behaved is so terrible that I'm going to shame you in front of everyone for having this emotion and behaving in this way, rather than helping you and teaching you how to manage that behaviour and emotion. The other kind of aspect to this is that you usually see the same children's names on that red at the bottom every day. You have the same children being put down on that behaviour chart. So what does that do? What does that achieve? If a child knows that every day at some point they get put down to the bottom of the chart, what incentive is there for them to behave well or to try and manage their behaviour in a different way? There isn't one. There is no incentive. They know that they're just going to get put to the bottom of that list. So what's the point? They stop caring. The children who are in the middle and never really move up or down, they kind of are the forgotten ones, the children who just coast along. They don't feel like they're recognised for anything that they do that is really good, and they may not really care about the behaviour chart because they know that they're always stuck in the middle and that's just where they are. They may have a fear of moving down the chart. They may want to move up, but they probably have a fear of moving down, and a fear of being punished for a behaviour is not how you stop that behaviour happening. We don't just want children to worry about how they will be punished or disciplined. We want them to be able to manage this behaviour because they want to manage it, not because they don't want to get told off by an adult. This is exactly the reason that some children grow up not trusting adults or not being able to tell them when something is wrong because they fear what adults might do. They also aren't then given the tools to adjust their behaviour and understand how to manage it effectively. The children who move up on the chart, usually the same children move up all the time. And these children will be very happy that they're moving up. And if they're moving up a lot, if there's a day when they don't move up, that can be a huge knock to their confidence. And it's basically like you've moved them down if you haven't moved them up, because they're wondering, well, what did I do wrong? Because I haven't done something amazing today to move up, when in reality they haven't done anything wrong. They just haven't been recognised for doing something really good. So when you look at it this way, you can really start to see how a whole class behaviour chart that everyone can see can really affect every student's self-confidence and self-esteem negatively. Children who move down feel like, well, what's the point? Because I always move down, so I might as well continue this behaviour. Or they feel that they're being punished for an emotion that they can't control yet, and they're not being given the tools to do that, which is extremely frustrating for them. Children who are in the middle may fear moving down, aspire to move up, but are really feeling like they are just average. They're just hanging out there in the middle. No one is recognising that they're doing anything particularly wonderful, and they're worried that someone might think they do something not so wonderful and move down. The children who move up, who are always moving up, if they have a day when they don't move up, that can really knock their confidence because they worry that they've done something wrong. Now, obviously, I've been talking about all the negatives of this, but let's try and think of some of the positives to, balance this argument a little bit. The positives of this, obviously, are children are always aware of how their behaviour has been that day, and they can look at the chart and see if they've moved up, they're doing really well. If they've moved down, that they have some things they need to improve on. I'm really trying to think of some other positives. I suppose the other positive that people think is a positive is that the children who move down can see that they have improvements to be made and that they need to work really hard to get back up that chart. The issue is that this isn't just a chart for that child, it's a chart for everyone, so everyone can see where that child is on the chart. So yes, the positives there were very short because I really do think that the negatives outweigh any positives that you can come up with. But if you do have some and you disagree with me, then please do leave them in the comments below, because I always want to know what your opinions are. Lots of schools use whole class behaviour charts in every classroom as part of their behaviour policy, and I get really disheartened when I walk into a school and I see this as part of their policy. I really don't think that this is an effective way of managing behaviour. I don't think it really changes any child's behaviour. It knocks their confidence, it makes them feel shame, it makes them feel humiliation, and it makes them feel fear. And it's just not the way we want our children to feel at all, and it's not the way to effectively manage behaviour. I do, however, have a video on how to manage behaviour, so I will link that in the description box below if you want some tips on other ways that you could try and manage behaviour in your classroom. Again, if you do have any comments, whether you agree or disagree with me, please leave them in the comment section down below and I'll try and get back to you on any of those. If you liked this video, if you found it interesting, please give it a like as it really helps out the channel, and share it with friends. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more videos just like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.